something doesn't pan out, no big scores, no Rent the Wise Guy, just a rough year. Like, do you have like a quota that like Big John's like looking at you like, dude, like this was a shitty year. You got, a week left, or is it not so finite? You having a shitty year, you kind of get a mulligan, you worry about the next. Like, I'm just trying to get a feel for.
I mean, yeah. So there, look, in that life, everybody's crying poverty, right? Like that happens that happens in the legitimate world as well, right? Everybody cries poverty. And so there was a year when I heard, and when you say you heard, I would hear from John. He'd be complaining, or he would complain to Johnny Sideburns, who would bring it back and saying that nobody really did the right thing at Christmas, and that coming up, if there's any money, that they should kick it back in and make up for the Chris. So similar to what you were just saying. Yeah. And I've heard it that way, but there was never, any, speech or talk that said from John, you owe me X amount of money. But he would cry and complain, and, he knew it would get back. And, I would disregard whatever I heard because I was not, whatever I gave. And there was times, like I said, the most I believe was like 35 or 3,600, whatever it was. But I never gave the 6,000 ever.
Got it. Now, you mentioned that the Perners were kind of reassigned to the Staten Island Legacy Brooklyn crew.
Correct.
And maybe a form of punishment. Was it because the Jersey faction was so small and weak and like they rolled into them? Or was the Jersey faction so strong, but the Perners were moved over specifically for punishment for them? Walk us through.
It was, from what I heard, and you heard me call them the Hatfields and McCoys, there was some kind of back and forth bickering or whatever it was over. I don't know whether it was over money or I'm not sure what it was about, but I know that there was some trouble between them. Don't forget, most of them are related some way, in some way, and that's what had happened there. Now, at that time, Ralphie, the father, who at one time was the capo regime for that crew, was no longer. He was just a soldier in the crew, taken down. At that time, I believe it was Richie DeLuca and one of the Perna cousins, Joey, another Joey Perna, was the acting captain. So I'm not really sure what took place, but something was going on, because first, like I mentioned earlier, that we got the father and one of the sons, and then when they were sent back to Jersey, we got the other son, Joey.
Got it.
Not together. Did you notice that they were split up? So I don't know. And when Joey came to us, he was happy to get away from the Jersey crew. So whatever was happening, it had to be, in a family, and I don't mean ours, I mean theirs. There was some kind of dispute going on. There was a lot of bad blood. Joey had told me that at one time, when he wasn't a friend, he was making pretty good money in the sports betting and gambling, and they had called him somewhere, his cousins, which I believe at the time both of them were friends, and they lumped him up. So so it's his own cousins. He said he could barely walk home. They gave him some shellacking and took money. Told him, I think they took, I don't want to misquote it, but it was over 100,000, maybe 120,000, 125,000, and they kind of like took his business. Yeah, so there's a lot of bad blood there, with between them.
And then he later became a friend.
Correct. And just so you know, that when the day that you become a friend, no matter what took place prior to that, I mean, this is really the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
that if you get straightened out on a Friday, if something happened that Monday, you can't now turn around and retaliate, because you cannot use that as a tool. It's not what, that's not what that life is about. That's not what you're getting. uh you know you're getting straightened out for other reasons, not for retaliatory reasons.
Interesting. So, okay, so a lot, kind of a continue along with the Christmas theme. So you guys, have a big party.